Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe and Starverse: The Force of Evil, among others. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
Today, Delaney, Michelle, and I will be discussing week 3 of the February of Star vs. The Forces of Evil. The week of February 20th, consisting of Heinous, All Belts Are Off, Collateral Damage, and Just Friends. Spoilers for all of those episodes are going to get into all 4 here. We've been covering Star, for this, Star airing daily, Monday to Thursdays. It was our last, normal Star airing. You can check out all of our podcasts for that at overlyanimated.com and search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. We're very excited for the finale on Monday, very soon, 2 hour-long finale. We'll be covering that late Monday night. So subscribe to us to make sure you hear our coverage of the very exciting finale, and we'll get into all that. So again, spoilers for all of these episodes, especially Just Friends. The rest don't really have spoilers. Yeah. And yeah. So let's get into this, guys. What a big event here this week. You all know what I'm talking about. Were you excited about the return of Brittany?
What? I don't know who that is.
No, okay, JK, we'll discuss Brittany later. What do you mean you don't even know?
Now I remember. I remember. It took me a minute. I was like, who's Brittany?
I was really insulted by that. Okay. We'll get into Brittany later. But, yes, thoughts on this whole week of episodes, Delaney?
Okay, none of them matter except for...
Wow.
Except for Just Friends. Heinous was fine. I do think this was kind of like, except for Just Friends, which is going to honestly, it doesn't even, I'm excited for the finale, like, I'm super hyped, but, it doesn't even matter what happens in the finale, because my life force will be sustained for the rest of the year because of Just Friends. But, Heinous was fine. I do think this was, a significant, well, okay, not significant, not, awful, but, it was a step down. We went another step down with the other 3 episodes. And, I get really irritated about the karate episodes. As someone who does karate, they're highly irritating. But, granted, there was Jana, which is always good thinking, Collateral Damage. Jana's a treasure. And Collateral Damage is a really weird episode that I think has the potential to be great, but just, got really weird. But Just Friends is obviously, the greatest thing ever, and I was, screaming the whole time, and then I was like, how can they troll us this bad? It's so painful, and it's amazing.
We'll get into this. We'll get into what is the trolling here. Michelle, what are your reactions to this week of episodes?
I liked this week of episodes. Just Friends was kind of the only, plot-related one, and I agree that, my least favorite of them probably was All Belts Are Off. But even that episode had, some good moments, and we'll probably get into them. I liked Heinous. I thought Heinous was, a solid episode. Collateral Damage was interesting. And I really actually like Just Friends a lot. It's a really good time.
Yeah. Yeah, Just Friends is everything. So this week was a step down. It was, in quality. I don't think, any of these first 3 were horrible. I thought they're all potentially at least good. So I'm fine with it. These weren't bad episodes like we had earlier in the season. Each episode had at least a few standout lines, so we can get into that. But, Just Friends, how do I describe how much I love this?
God.
I actually don't think the episode itself is super, super incredible. I don't think it's a top 10 episode, but, just my enjoyment of it is very high. I like the whole episode, but there's 2 sequences of Star and Marco lip syncing to the Just Friends song, and honestly 2 of my favorite scenes ever. In the I think the first 30 seconds of this episode with them lip syncing while brushing their teeth is one of my favorite storyboarded animated sequences I've seen. I love it so much. I love it. I just love the effect it has, representative of everything about Star and Marco and their friendship, and it's so incredible. I've watched those 2 scenes a bunch of times. Really, really love that. And it's okay. Overall, This is like the most blatant episode, getting into Just Friends specifically now. It's like, this is the song itself is just telling the story of this trope. It's like the most trope specific episode ever, but it's so good. And this is exactly what we wanted. This is the Starco angst episode with Star's feelings. And I'm so excited. I love it. I loved it so much. So many emotions with Star's reactions and Star and Marco's interactions. One of the most Starco episodes of the show. Do you agree, Delaney?
Duh.
Yeah. So first things first, I got to give the brief speeches. I remember saying the same thing after the sleepover episode, because the fandom reaction is just completely not right. Just Friends is not like, oh, Starco's dead. It's like, this is a Starco episode. Like, we are on the Starco.
In their defense, these are like, Dylan, we are like veterans of like Katang, and like we like waited out Korosami, like we had to deal with Makora and then Korosami. Like, the thing is, like, it's real, and I think that's part of the reason why like we actually like the show so much, is because they've actually crafted this relationship that is so obvious. And it's so great, and they're not really playing with you. Like, it's so obvious what they're doing, but they do it in such like a beautifully crafted way that it's like, they take the tropes, but they're like doing it this wonderful way.
We're like really fully exploring all the elements of Starco, to an extent that I've never seen before on a show like this.
Right. It's the trope, and then and it's subversive of the trope, because it's not just the trope. It's not just this friends and one of the friends dating somebody and the other friend gets mad. Like, no, like, we're actually exploring like this kind of in a realistic, like, 3-dimensional way. And it's not just it's not like we're introducing angst just for the purpose of getting them together, which happens like in literally everything all the time. This is like an actual exploration of Star's feelings, because this is the beginning. This is the beginning of like real Starco. This is Star like facing her, like we already had Star like acknowledging her feelings. This is Star facing her feelings. This is going to be Marco, like, no, I don't think he's going to be, like, suddenly realize that he likes Star. It's going to be more of, like, who he cares about more, who, like, this kind of, like, he's been maybe, like, he's been afraid or whatever. And, like, this actual, like, this is the starting point. This is where Starco begins.
Right. This is a great point, that this isn't just like forced relationship drama. This is a major part of Star's arc. And they're just building.
And the whole season hinges on it.
Right. Yeah. Like, we're about to see the ramifications these next 2 episodes, like with how this relates to Star's emotional thing with losing the book and Glasswing.
And I'm going to officially claim my green magic theory as correct.
Okay, we'll get into it at the end. We'll talk about that. But this is children. This is the Starco episode. Like, this is
the best thing ever, y'all.
This is great.
Get ready.
Like, if you ship Starco like me and Delaney heavily, like, this is great. Like, this is fully exploring all aspects of this. I love, how could this not be? This is the full extent of Star's feelings that we're seeing. And I actually think they do approach this trope in kind of like a deep way. Like, I think Star's approach to this is not obvious. Like, I think it's kind of deep, and related to her character. And I think Marco also has an interesting approach in this episode emotionally. All of it's just handled great. And I just love their approach to this episode, just going so full into the angst of Star's feelings. Like, I love just dedicating a whole episode blatantly to it, a whole song to it. Like, it's so good. So what stands out to you, Delaney, specifically from the episode?
Well, okay, so you were talking about the scenes, like the lip syncing, and like, obviously I love that. It's so great. But there's 2 things. What stands out to that scene for me, and specifically if they're at the concert, it's not so much how close Star and Marco are, because they're like face to face the whole time. It's the very blatant, like, crafting of that scene. You can always see Jackie's arm. You can always see part of Jackie. And like the very just like the whole way that scene was like quote unquote shot, like how it was developed. I love that. Like, it was like, that part was just killing. Like, I wasn't even really looking at Marco and Star. Like, I was watching like the movement of their arms, and that was just like so great. I loved that. And then of course, we have a lot of juxtaposition of that later, where we have like the separate, when Marco and Jackie kiss and all that stuff. But then the other thing that really stands out to me in this episode, at the end where Star blows up the sign.
Yeah.
That's not the normal, like, blow up anger moment. Like, that was so, like, okay, she blew up a sign, but it's a really subtle emotional moment. Like, it's not this Star is just, like, unbelievably angry. It's just this, like, I don't know, it's almost like casual, like, I don't know, it's finally this kind of explosion of her feelings, but it's so controlled for Star.
Yeah, she's still smiling the entire time during
right.
that. Yeah, which is, I love it. That's so representative of how I view Star's character. Like, she's always, like, smiling and happy, but she's a lot of emotions going on underneath that a lot of people underrate.
And it's not that she's unhinged. It's not that, like, crazy girlfriend trope. Or it's just that's just who Star is. She's happy for Marco, but she's, like, hurt. She doesn't really know how to, like, deal with this.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of this episode for me is just, like, the design, the colors, and just a lot of the, like, movement in the episode is just, like, amazing. And, like, a lot of the, like, even Love Sentence, it's still, like, it was really great. Like, what they were doing, and, like, it was just so great.
Yeah. What stands out to you, Michelle?
Oh man. I mean, kind of everything Delaney was pointing out. I mean, the ending sequences, I think, were part of the strongest parts of the whole thing. And I do agree with Delaney that, like, if we are at the point where Starco becomes, like, a thing, I think it makes the most sense from Marco's perspective that, like, if he makes the choice to be with Star, and by if I mean, like, when, because, like, I feel like that's probably gonna happen. Even if they, like, break up, they're gonna at least try to be together at some point. It will be because, like, even though he really likes Jackie, he always, like, Star's still kind of a priority. And her friendship to him is still kind of a priority. Like, even like the second she, like, left, he, like, noticed, and, like, he went down to talk to her, and he's like, is this really okay? Like, they both know he's in a relationship with somebody else, but he's still, like, asking her and checking in with her. So, like, I feel like for him, like, if she did confess or something, he'd be like, oh, but then, like, it wouldn't be, like, a huge, like, oh, like, well, I don't know if I like Star. I think it'd be, like, kind of a natural thing. So that's one thing I appreciate about the shipping of these two. Like, if it did happen, I feel like there's been, like, a decent enough amount of progression that, like, it totally makes sense, and it doesn't feel really forced and arbitrary at all.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly coming around to Starco.
Oh, it's here. You need to come around now.
Get ready.
You're here. It's the finale. Yeah, I love how this episode is crafted in that it's just the importance of the friendship to Star that Marco has is emphasized throughout. Like Delaney was talking about the lip syncing sequence when they're playing Just Friends at the concert. The way that's storyboarded by Zach Marcus and Brett Varon. Brett Varon also directs the episode. I'm so impressed with their work on this episode of just, like, having like, Jackie's, like, arm in the shot while in this, like, genuinely over a minute long sequence of Star and Marco just lip syncing to lyrics, which is so incredible. It's just always present. Jackie's, like, always present, but not the focus of the episode. And it's so incredibly well done for me. The other thing that they really do well is, just I think Star and Marco's friendship shines more than any other episode here through this lip syncing that they do. And just seeing their expressions and how they choreograph to the music. It's really incredible and really well done. I was so impressed by their work on this episode. Another thing I was really impressed by is the song Just Friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a great song.
It's so great.
By Nick Lachey, of course, is what's his face? Justin Towers. Nick Lachey is the lead singer of 98 Degrees. And, and also by composer Brian H. Kim. Really good job with the song. I think this song's, it's so blatant. I love it. It's such like a stupid topic for a song too, that wouldn't happen. I really like that. And they also have, like, this, other piece of the song of, like, Too Little Too Late. I think we heard in a previous episode at the end when Star's walking out. Yeah, just really, really love all of that. Okay, let's get into Star's motivations here I want to talk about in this episode, because I think Star's behavior is really interesting. She kind of instigates all this by bringing Jackie in for the ticket, with the ticket for the concert. And she seems to want to be very inclusive of Jackie in there. She says, let's make Jackie included in our fun times. So my question is, how much of this is Star being honest with her motivations? How much of this is Star just wanting the best for Marco in, like, a very pure way? How much of this is kind of Star internally crying out and just kind of purposely sabotaging her thing with Marco. Do you see any of that element in this, Delaney?
Well, I think but it's kind of what's so like, I think, I want to say appealing about Starco and about Star and Marco's like relationship just in general, like platonic or romantic, however you want to talk about it, is that this isn't really this isn't malevolent in any way. This isn't like, there is no, I don't really think there is a ulterior motive. And what's so great about it is that this is who Star is. Like, Star likes Jackie. She wants to be friends with Jackie because Marco likes her. And like, that's just who Star is. Star's like, yeah, I want Jackie to come, and like, y'all are dating. You need to like all hang out. And then also this, like, I mean, I do think there could be a little bit of this, like, you know, Star throws herself into things, especially when she does, you know, this is very, like, it's kind of weird using this as an example because the episode is so weird, but in Collateral Damage, like, Star is distracting herself by the trash, and, you know, she breaks Otis. And I think this is very much Star throwing herself into the situation so she doesn't have to think about things. So I do think it's mostly like Star legitimately likes Jackie, and then I think the motivation is the same in that Star is as a person, and that she wants Marco to be happy, and this is what Marco, like, this is Marco's girlfriend. Like, that's, to me, that's the same motivation. They come from the same place. They stem from who Star is as a person, which how she feels about Marco is like, you know, it's just so entwined with who she is because that's how it is. Your relationship with those around you, like, define who you are. And, you know, like, your impact on like the world around you, that's what defines who you are. And so that's the same thing to me, that there's no difference. And then this, like, it could, and this, that where Star throws herself into things, that is the negative, quote, like what you'd say, like the distraction, the, you know, this is the crying out that you said.
Yeah. So you think it's more of trying to distract herself rather than maybe trying to hurt herself in some way. Like, clearly, she's acting completely positively towards both Marco and Jackie. I wonder if there's an element of like, I want myself to feel like I'm hiding underneath type of thing.
Well, I do think if this had played out, like, I really do think this, that if they were at the concert and Marco and Jackie hadn't kissed, it would have been fine. And it's just that, like, romantic reminder. And yeah. I don't think this is, like, that wasn't the intention. Like, it's not this punishing myself. This is just so real. Like, this is what happens in, like, real life. Like, I've had this very, like, I've had like a personal experience in someone I'm friends with, and I had, like, she had previous feelings for me, and then I didn't really reciprocate them until later, and then she didn't reciprocate them anymore, and like have that weird interaction, and then like you're friends and it's great, and then they're with somebody else, and like when you actually are confronted with that, and this, like, that's what this was. This was that was that moment, and so it's not punishment. This is definitely, like, we had the, you know, acknowledgement in Sleepover. This is the actual beginning of Star confronting her feelings. Like, this is like when, like I said, this was the start of Starco. This is where it starts. This is, you know, Star having to really, like, I like Marco, and Jackie being with Marco hurts me. Like, it hurts my feelings.
Yeah, so I think she, like, before, like, the kiss, she's like trying to include Jackie in her friendship with Marco, and she's trying to
likes Jackie, like, they're just having fun.
And she likes Jackie, and I think she's trying to, like, not deal with her romantic feelings for Marco, but it comes to the surface with the kiss type of thing.
Right, that's what it is. Like, it's not like it's one of those things that, and I think it's hard. I think sometimes, like, with watching shows and, like, you know, you shipping, you know, like, people, and then, like, how you're used to watching shows, is that for Star, it's not this, like, all the time, oh, I like Marco constantly, and, like, and Jackie being there. I think it's more, they were just having a good time, and it's not like the whole time when Star had Jackie there that she was, like, thinking about, like, they were just having a, you know, great time. And then it was that actual, like, very tangible reminder. Like, they're just kind of, like, it was very sudden. And I think that, like, that's what it was. It wasn't the, like...
Yeah.
I don't think it's an underlying thing all the time, if that makes sense.
I think it's a good argument. What do you think, Michelle?
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think maybe on some level, like, because Star did kind of exhibit discomfort in Bon Bon about them, like, being together. And she did seem pretty jealous, and maybe like on her end, part of the wanting to hang out with Jackie and include her is like for her to feel better about Jackie anyway, and to like become better friends with her. Because like if she's not thinking about in terms of liking Marco, it's like, oh well, Jackie makes me feel weird. I don't know why. We should hang out more so I don't feel weird about her anymore, and we can all just be friends. But like clearly, once the romance stuff happens, like the issue just gets like exacerbated.
Yeah.
But I could see, like, from her perspective, like, the wanting to hang out with Jackie being like, well, I don't really quite feel right about Jackie. I don't know why. Maybe I just don't know her well enough kind of thing. So, yeah, very well intentioned, but, like, clearly didn't make things better in the end.
Yeah, I think this is a good argument, and I'd agree that this is mostly just Star trying to suppress her like the angst inside from the romantic
the
feelings,
inside.
and then it I guess that's like an oxymoron, but yeah, whatever. And it just comes out, and then she has to deal with it later. But it comes from a good place. I do wonder whether we're going to see in the finale any element of like Star crying out emotionally, but I think that's going to be interesting. I think that it would be interesting. The portrayal of Jackie in this episode is refreshingly positive as usual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a chill, like nice,
she's
cool
awesome.
person. Yeah.
The skateboards were great. Like, oh my,
yeah, that's so cool.
Idea. That was so good, so pure.
Yeah. Jackie was great. Clearly, much less engaging than Star and Marco.
Yes.
Yeah. To each other and to the audience. I think Marco's kind of been down on Jackie for a while, and
yes.
I think Star kind of like unintentionally brought the romantic feelings back up by instigating the kiss with this whole situation. Like Marco again in this episode was not like super eager to talk to Jackie when she called. So I think that's interesting and how that plays out.
Seems like he's still pretty insecure being around her, and that could be just because they haven't been around each other enough for him to feel like he can be a real person around her.
Yeah, I agree. I totally don't think he's his best self, or he feel like it's the best situation for him with Jackie, and I think it's going to be about overcoming that initial cross and then realizing like either I do genuinely like her as like a person, or maybe we don't gel type of thing.
Right. Yeah. It was interesting seeing also because they were kind of like tackling this whole thing of like when you have three people together and that like fear of one of them that like your partner, your friend's gonna think your other friend's like cooler than you, and the two of them will just go hang off by themselves. Like that's a real fear people actually have, and I like that they kind of were like, no, dude, like you're both cool, and plus you're my boyfriend, it's fine. Don't be so insecure. Because, like, Star and Jackie were getting along really well. Yeah. And Marco was kind of, like, off floundering for a lot of the first part of the episode.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how they brought an emotional arc for Marco in this episode. We've kind of been focused on Star for a while with that. And Marco, like, despite being there with, like, his best friend who likes him and his girlfriend who likes him, he just has, like, self-doubt because these are these two, like, unique, interesting people. I thought that was a really interesting angle to bring into it for Marco. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Delaney, at the end, I assume this is what you're saying with the Star blowing up the sign. So Star blows up the sign. It is green. That is evocative of Ludo's tainted magic in the Ludo episode from last week, correct?
Yes, and we've seen this before from Star.
Yeah.
Like when did we see? Yeah, when did we see
that
this?
Weird Cloud episode where like Cloudy, like also
Cloudy was back.
Yeah,
I was like, OMG, it's Cloudy. So like she's done this before, like and a lot of times it was like, I mean, I talked about this like very early on, like this was like very early in the season where we were seeing this, and we're like, oh, it's tainted, like it's because the wand's broken. But then the more that it keeps happening and the more we have more context for it, I am very, like, it's very much this emotional.
Yeah.
And I do think, and it could be, I don't know, the new thing with Toffee, I think is an interesting development in that Toffee was able to, like, take, he's possessing Ludo. We can only assume right now that Ludo is still currently possessed by Toffee. And so it's like, is that just the magic? Is the magic just Toffee? Is this like taint Toffee himself? Is this allowing Toffee to take control? Is this like Toffee's like way in? Like, is Toffee going to be able to like possess Star? If she gets kind of like, down enough, like if this continues to like kind of consume her without her confronting it. But this is definitely like this green magic is definitely like, this is I love stuff like this. Like, I just like love things like this. This is the actual like physical visual manifestation of Star's feelings, and it's very much in an active way. It's not just like the sky is red. Like this is like an act, like this has consequences because this isn't just the magic screen. It causes things. It causes awful things to happen. It's the complete opposite of what Star's magic is.
Yeah, I think this is very probably Eclipse's dark magic that Star invoked by using the All-Seeing Eye.
Right.
And I think it's an interesting angle that it also might just be a manifestation of her emotions. Like maybe like it wouldn't, maybe she'd be fine with having used the dark magic before if she wasn't in such emotional turmoil.
Like you kind of have to, like, I think it's, that kind of like you have to control it.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's not like in a good enough place to not have it negatively affect her type of thing. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And like is Toffee just harnessing all type of Eclipse of magic now? And yeah, how does that affect Star? That definitely we'll get into that in the finale. Gonna be pretty interesting. Any thoughts on that, Michelle?
Is Eclipse's magic green? For some reason I felt like it was purple.
Well, I mean, there has been purple. Like that's the thing.
Could it be two separate kinds of magic?
Okay,
I would say so. Like
I just remember like when the book would open to Eclipse's chapter, I just remember like seeing lots of like purple-y like
purple
stuff.
And black.
So
it's possible Eclipse's magic on her own isn't like this tainted. It's like it's not inherently tainted or something, and that's something else.
And I'm also wondering if the green magic can be anything but tainted, because I'm trying to think of like any time we've seen it when it didn't do something bad. Because it was also in the Bon Bon episode when she was using the spell to look in on Marco on the skateboard, and that's when like that little bit of it went on the wheel and they almost crashed.
Right.
Which seems like a pretty like dangerous, destructive kind of thing. And even like destroying the sign and Just Friends is like a very like anti-positive force, which like, as you're pointing out, like her magic's more like the tree growing. Like it's like kind of the opposite of destruction.
Right.
In a way. So like, I don't know if that's Eclipse's magic or not, but I think it's definitely like a negative force.
I don't
she's getting too comfortable using. Yeah, I don't think it is either.
Like, I mean, it could be that Eclipse is not like, the source of dark magic.
Like I'm fully in on this is like Star's like, and granted and so I think it's like the wand is broken because Star is like this emotional turmoil that Star is having, and she's so powerful that it manifests in this like dark magic.
Yeah.
And it's not dark magic in the same way that Eclipse's is, because Eclipse's dark magic is controlled and focused. Star's is not, and it's kind of sick. Like it's a sick magic. It's green and it doesn't look right, and it doesn't really work right. And then we have, and that can also still be. I mean, maybe that's what this drain. Oh God, what's it called? The drain that's happening with magic.
Yeah, the leaker,
what did they call
whatever
it?
they keep calling it.
Yeah.
And this, like, that could be like, Star is so powerful that she's just kind of like she's able to like, not necessarily like suck it all up or whatever, but like she's able to tap into things that she shouldn't be able to. Not in like a negative way, like she's just that powerful, but because she can't control it.
Yeah,
it has negative consequences.
Yeah, the Fritz, by the way.
The Fritz. I remembered it too.
Yeah. And
they'd have a cute name, the Fritz.
Yeah, the Fritz for something.
And how does so like the baby? She's more powerful than you ever. Like, how does that tie in? Right, like, there's not enough information to confirm or deny what you're saying. I would say, at least on the surface, this seems triggered by her using the All-Seeing Eye, but it very much could be a something with like a secondary or a subversive meaning that will. Well, granted,
you also have to think about the motivations for her using the All-Seeing Eye.
Yeah,
they were not good intentions.
Yeah.
Like what pushed her to use it was these negative feelings, and I don't like. I definitely think, like, you can think of it kind of like maybe as a vicious cycle, but I definitely think it's more the emotional turmoil is what drove Star to using Eclipse's magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I have nothing to contradict it, but I also don't think it's currently supported by the show. But it could, almost nothing is, right? So we don't have very much. So I think they totally could go in that direction.
I think we've been presented with three different things, kind of like there's this green magic that we're seeing, and even Star's green magic it's a little bit different than Ludo's. But it's definitely this green, like, and we're supposed to, associate it's wrong, it's not right. And then there's Eclipse's dark magic, which, it's hard not to associate, I think, this green magic with the dark magic because they're both, quote unquote wrong. But I do think the dark magic and the green magic are different. And I think we've been given three different things. There's Star's magic, which is like happiness, narwhals, Lisa Frank nonsense all the time. And then which is great. And then there's this green magic that's from like it started with the wand being broken and like everything that's happened, and then the Eclipse of Dark magic. Like I think we've been presented with 3 different things. Though I can see that like I mean it's it's understandable that we would associate the green with the dark, and also everything's tied together. So like there could be one reason for all of it.
We will see potentially in the finale, although I doubt we will answer all these questions.
Right. No, we're not going to answer like half the questions.
We will see. Other things in this episode to cover. We talked about Cloudy, the return, very exciting. The stuff with the ducks.
The ducks are cute.
Oh yeah.
The $650, which we'll get into more from the
first
so good.
Episode. That is just the best thing.
Star recounting her journeys from that river episode, which was one of the weirdest of the show. Yes. That was an interesting choice to go back there. And
then like Jackie was like, "Yeah, me too." What, Jackie?
Yeah, like what?
Yeah,
and
no, I think
she didn't say anything else about it.
Yeah, no, she was like, "Yeah, me too." Wait, what? I think she was I think she was just agreeing with Star. I think that was.
She was just like, it's like when you're talking to somebody and you're just like, yeah. Wait, what were we talking? What did you just say?
Yeah, that was that. Love Sentence's entrance bursting straight out of Echo Creek Penitentiary. Like, what is that? Was this the theme for this? I don't. So great. It was really Marco freaking out about the theatrics of that. Yeah. Just a lot from that episode. It was no secret the way that we feel. Yeah, no,
it's we need to have to sing along. Was great.
It's great.
Also, the fact that it was like I had a toothbrush that played music. Like that's the best thing ever. And the fact that it was like they did it was so great. Like it's such a weird thing to do, and I just love that.
Yeah, one last time. I so love that sequence in the beginning. I love that it ends with them spitting and it's a hard cut. It's such an incredible 30 seconds. Star makes this one pose with their 2 fingers up that I made the screenshot for this. It's one of my favorite shots of the show.
Marco climbs up onto the sink.
Yeah, he does that too. It's so, and I just love how they alternate and they both like have this synchronized choreography. It's so wonderful. By far my favorite thing. Like my favorite scenes from the show, like the 2 lip syncing scenes from here, like Blood Moon, and like
this is the Katango.
This is
this is the real Katango.
I called it prematurely. This is the Katango.
There's a lot more songs in the finale, so we'll see. But the Hekapoo stuff at the end. But yeah, okay. Let's get into our other episodes this week. Much shorter discussions. Let's go backwards. Collateral Damage. Very weird episode, Delaney.
Super weird. Okay, so like it's a possum, which is like okay, and like at first it was like okay, maybe we're kind of going somewhere, and then we went into like this super weird, like totally made up history thing that was just ridiculous. And like I was like, oh, I forgot I was watching Star for a moment. Like it was definitely like very reminiscent of like just the totally off the wall season 1 episodes we had. We were like, what is this show about?
Yeah.
And then it tried to have meaning. Like it was like interesting. I don't know. I think it was kind of like a weird. It's kind of like when you have like the Steven Universe like Townie episode, like the 40 episode.
Yeah, it is.
And I think this one worked a little bit better, but it's just one of those like we have this really weird episode that doesn't make a lot of sense, and then you like kind of jam in, and then there's Star the whole time like I don't know what I did wrong, and like the whole time we're watching, we're like I don't understand what's going on anyway. And then you have that, and then it's just they're trying to like kind of push in this really weird. It's not really immoral, but like it's just weird. Like, and I don't think it really executes that well. Like, it was fine, but it was super odd.
Thoughts, Michelle?
It seemed like the kind of episode, but they were like, oh, we should like expand the mythos of this town that we're in. Okay, how about we have this possum backstory and it ties into this like statue, and Star as an outsider like confronts the wackiness of like this tradition and helps like change it for the better, maybe? Like that's what it was, I guess, but like I don't know why we needed that at all, because it was really oddly executed. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it wasn't a bad episode, but it was kind of like, you're not really going to remember that much, like, down the line, probably. Nothing consequential really happened.
Yeah, I guess I'm higher on this than you two. I think they tried a lot of things here. I think it all does tie together. The core of this episode is Star's emotional arc of her trying to...
Well, it does tie together, but like it's just so weird that it's like weird. I don't care.
Yeah, certainly it's very weird. I think it's trying to do a lot of things. I think it does the Star's arc, and I think that is like the weirdest way to tie her thing to the Possum backstory. Like I think that works well enough. I think that all the other freak out stuff works well enough. Like, it's whatever. It's an inconsequential episode, but that being said, there are like 3 super hilarious standout moments or whatever.
Oh, what were yours?
Yes.
What were yours? I don't know.
No, there's one that was just hilarious.
There's the best one is Star making her speech, and she says, Ferguson, Alonso, I haven't talked to you guys all year, but you're always there in the background doing your thing. And then they don't even show them, and then they that is the best joke for this season, because we're always where are they? And they're still not there in this episode.
I do have a comment on that.
Okay.
I do think this, like, I was reading through like your outline, and I think this was, so we're facing the finale. This was their kind of like around the horn episode. It's like we have to see everybody before everything like blows up. Like, you know, that happens a lot. We go around, we have to see everybody again. And this is a really weird way to do it, but I think this makes more sense to me now that I think that's what was going on. And like, obviously it wasn't presented in that context, but I do think that's what it was. And that makes a lot more sense now where it's placed in the season, is that we're dealing with Star's stuff in this really weird way, but like it comes to a point, but then we also have where we have to go around and see everybody before like everything just like blows up.
Yeah, I agree. That could have been one of the motivations for this. I'm a little unsure if like they aired them in the order that they are intended or not, but this does seem like it was supposed to be towards the end. Yeah, that was one of the standout moments to me. So this whole sequence with Marco narrating the history
awesome
of
backstory.
Echo Creek. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the actual history, by the way. I think
it's
that's what it was. This is real.
Like that whole sequence is like, it's weird, and there's no super it's not like super funny throughout, but there's this one moment when,
is it the letter?
Yeah, the
letter.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
My dearest Rebecca, like when he gets into that, like that makes it, like without that scene, that whole backstory is so bad, but that really makes it work.
No, it's
not
really
love
funny
anymore. I can only hate.
Yeah.
Possums.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really good.
That played really well.
I think you're burying the funniest part of the episode.
Okay, well, what
was that?
The funniest part of the episode is when like Star's like, I don't really understand what's going on, and then Marco's like, you were torn up, like, they're talking about the book and like Star being messed up, and then he's like, you kept calling me Glossary, you shoved me in a book, and she's like, yeah, that's where you live. Like, that's so funny. Like,
that was my number 3 moment. Yeah, Star's
I think that's number 1. That is by far the funniest moment.
Because that's where you live. Yeah, that was it's a vintage Star line. It was really good.
Like, that's where you live. That was the best. Like, that was so funny.
Yeah, I like also just like the concept of Star calling Marco Glossary for a while.
Yes,
it's really good. I would like to see this. I would have liked to have seen that on the show. That
that would have been like just her trying to like put him in the book. Like that would have been great.
Yeah. So like I think those are like 3 of the funniest moments that we've seen in a while, and it's like I think that makes the episode worth it. And we have a lot of Jana in the beginning and at the end. She's there on detention or whatever. Good, nice seeing Jana here. It's interesting that for like 3 episodes she was a main character, and now she's not again.
What are you, Jana?
Very sporadic appearances now.
Yeah. What do you think of Marco's narrating voice for this? And then he like clears his throat and goes back to talking normally.
I hate it.
To me, yeah, it felt like a lot.
But it's fine. Like it worked really well, and it was funny. And then it was really funny at the end when Star kept doing it, and Jana was like, "Please stop."
Wow.
Yeah, Star doing it was really good. And the most important part of the episode is Brittany. Brittany's back. I've been wanting Brittany to be back. I've been talking about Brittany coming back for like every podcast.
Every time Dylan mentions Brittany, I text me to be like, "Who's Brittany?" And then I remember who Brittany is.
That's how long it's been since she's been relevant, though. Honestly,
was she ever relevant? No.
For a couple episodes in season 1, they built her up like she was going to be more of a thing, but then
she was like, she was like that girl.
That girl, but they didn't do anything with it. I thought they were going to, but they didn't.
Let me do an early reading of Steve's comments because he's the best Brittany analysis.
Of
Steve
course.
Says,
oh my god, why am I not surprised?
Well, because I talk about Brittany all the time. That's why. Steve says, Brittany, how I missed her. Not only is Brittany back and makes her season 2 speaking debut, says Steve. And you know what? In her 2 season 2 appearances, the writers have made Brittany look more sympathetic and likable. We learn about her insecurities in Mr. Kendo Cares, and here she is written in a more sympathetic light. So Brittany in 2 brief appearances, one of which had no lines that they made her sympathetic. I think she speaks in Mr. Kendo Cares. So in that great like stinger at the end of that top 5 episode. It's really good. That's like the best Brittany moment. But yeah, I don't know why we're not making Brittany more of a character. I guess because we don't need to. I guess I'd prefer to make Jana and Jackie. Yeah, but
yes.
I was happy to see Brittany here. So
Dylan, are you secretly Steve with the fake name?
I don't know.
Are these actually your comments?
Yeah, they might be my secret comments. That's true. That's a good theory.
We'll have to change Steve's nickname to like Dylan Jr.
Don't encourage that. Put this in the
Dylan Beta.
The OVA AU whatever. Yeah.
God.
Let's talk about All Belts Are Off. So
this one had a good line though. It had one good line at least.
Yes, I think this is another episode where it's a little but there's a few really great moments.
Yeah.
What do you think, Delaney?
Well, I mean, what the show does with this just irritates me. Because like I understand, like it's funny, the like strip mall like karate dojo, that's hilarious. But like as someone who does karate, it's like really irritating. And then you have like this grandmaster, and you're like he's a TV thing, and then you're like, oh god, like it just like I think it's funny, and I understand why it's funny, and then the other part of me is like super irritated about it.
But, I mean, I thought it was irritating even without taking karate, so I agree.
I mean, granted, Sensei's like, you know, whatever. And then, I mean, I do think there was like the Marco Sensei stuff in the episode was good. Jeremy is always, I hate him, but he's really entertaining. It's like the same, oh my god, what was his name? Oh my god, in Gravity Falls. I can't remember his name, I'm terrible. What is his name?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He loves Mabel.
Gideon, yeah.
Yeah, Gideon, yeah. Don't compare, don't degrade Gideon.
I think,
no, that's what I mean, that's it, like, this is the same, like, I mean, obviously Gideon's way better than Jeremy, but like, it's like the kind of the same reasons. Like, you get to see more of Jeremy being awful, and it's like it's kind of it's funny in like it's the same reason why Gideon was like such an engaging character.
Yeah. What do you think, Michelle, of this one?
I mean, of the karate episodes, which I think we've probably had more than we'll ever need so far. I guess it was like one of the better ones. I liked that like Marco like kind of like decided to be chill and mature at the end and like wasn't like, no, like I have to prove that I'm the best. He's like accept his decision. Then he found out that the decision was
staring at
like,
the honor banner.
Totally fake reason to sponsor him. But I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't think it was bad. And there were a couple moments that I thought were really, really surprisingly funny. So it could have been worse.
Yeah. Obviously this isn't one of the best episodes or anything of the show. I thought this was like a pretty well put together episode. I think the production values were really good on it. There's nothing I hated in this episode, and there's a few moments that were really good. I think overall it works as a unit. I love the Grandmaster. I think he's really successful.
No, the Grandmaster's really funny. Like that's like quality stuff.
Yeah, he's really good. I think Jeremy's fine, right? Like he serves his purpose here. And then, this is a good Marco character episode. That's good. The best moments I think are Star when Marco's creeping on.
Because she's like trying to think of the right word. She's like a creep, and he's like, no, I'm not. She's like, no, wave that creep flag. It's like, oh my god, it's just like that joke really landed.
Yeah, this is like one of the aspects of Star that they consistently have, just her being like really weird like this, and then
I love it. So good.
Sliding up the
climbing
tree.
The tree.
Star is such a weirdo, and I love her.
Yeah.
So great.
Wave that creep flag. That's a really good line. Yeah.
The read on that line.
Yeah. Yeah,
creep.
That's a great line that I didn't share. Another line I really like is Sensei saying like, "I'll decide at the end of the week." Sensei, it's Friday. I don't know. I thought that was really funny.
No, it was like it's really good.
Yeah. And then I've got to stop learning life lessons from children's shows is the other big one.
That was really good. I think that one's even better than Sensei, it's Friday. Like,
yeah, that's a good line.
And he's like sitting there eating his cereal, watching his like children's show when like. Yeah. Marco comes in. That was also like really good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those three lines. Also like the Jeremy is awesome. His own music.
Right. That was like ridiculous.
Yeah. The whole scene was really interesting. Like this episode did not deserve the amount of high quality animation it had, but considering it had it, I think this is an upper tier low an upper tier quiet episode for the show is what I would say.
Oh, I think the best touch was the whole time everybody in the dojo just hated it. Like that made it a lot more like,
oh yeah, tolerable.
Yeah, it was so great. Like I was like, okay, this is fine. Like everyone was like, he was like, it's our anniversary. Why did you bring me to this? Speaking of background, before I forget, there was a gay kiss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
in Just Friends. Yeah,
yes.
There was a bunch of them. There's at least 3,
and I was like, gay.
There's one that's pretty
so
clear
exciting.
that it's male.
Yeah.
This is I'd like to say this is not new for the show. The show always has really diverse background characters.
Right.
Like this is it. I mean, it's great and it's like a big deal, but also like this, like even in like Heinous and like all of their background characters, they have a lot of interracial couples and stuff like that. This is very par for the course.
It's nice to see them smooch though. There's something like that seems like a big deal about smooching in particular.
That's what's so great is that their background.
True, though. Yeah,
like, that's the best part is that their background characters like making this is not like obviously I would love to have like a gay main character of like.
But it's normalizing it subtly, which
in the background. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion on. I think Justin wrote an article on this too.
Wait, we forgot. Dylan, I can't believe you didn't mention this line in Collateral Damage.
What line?
Gosh,
it was like Starfan 13. Like,
you're the best. You're the second best version of me, or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and she says "baby," and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
Yes. I'm a little. Starfan 13 makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. It's great.
This joke, I think, is running along.
She's not really a character,
and I don't understand why she's. Why is your name? Okay, never mind. Yeah.
You're already thinking about it too much.
It is. So good.
Also, I want to point out this Michelle quote from just now. There's something about smooshes that makes it a big deal. Okay. Put that in the Michelle quote library. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get into Heinous. The long-awaited return of Miss Heinous. I was very excited. I'm always very excited to see Jessica Walter back on the show. And we see Gemini, who I didn't remember, and the Rastakor arm.
He had a name.
I didn't remember that Rastakor existed.
Him too.
I didn't make the connection until the chainsaw, and I was like, oh right.
It's like, oh, it's his arm. Okay, because this chainsaw was kind of his whole thing. Yeah.
The biggest problem for me with this episode is I just didn't remember any of the backstory, so they kind of just had to spend like several minutes in this episode blatantly laying it out.
But saying Princess Marco over and over again was great.
We also
it was so great.
Yeah, the long-awaited return of Princess Marco. That was like the other big deal. So, what do you think of this episode, Delaney?
Well, I liked it in that, like, also, I love, like, one of my biggest pet peeves, cough, miraculous ladybug, cough, is when parents don't know, like, if they're, like, kids going on these, like, ridiculous adventures, especially in this show, because, like, they, like, blown up the house, like, so many different times, and, like, stuff is always messed up, and I'm just like, why? And so I really like this, like, confrontation that was, like, not even really a confrontation, it was just really funny, and, like, also, I love Marco's parents. Like, the Diaz's are the best. Like, I love them. And, like, so I think this is really funny. And, like, the $650, like, royalty check that was finally explained is so good. Because, like, it's always nice $650. Yeah. And I was like, why is it always like this? It's so funny. And then, like, it's just good. And there's also, like, the, like, sarcasm that, like, Heinous just doesn't get. And, like, it's just so good. The whole thing is excellent.
I think that's the one standout line from the episode. You have merchandise? Yeah, I get a $650 royalty check.
He's been so chill about spending that amount for so many things. I'm like, how does he have this much money? We never
like, every time
get a job.
Money, it's $650.
Yeah.
Always have $650 in your wallet, Marco.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this has been building up to something actually, and not just like. Yeah,
because we had this where did Marco get the money from in the previous episode explained now, and then we do it again in Just Friends. So it's
the Goblin Dog I think was the first time. He's like, I have $650. Like, why do you have so much, and why are you looking to spend it so casually? Yeah, and then a couple times after that, they brought up stuff.
Yeah, what do you think of this episode, Michelle?
I liked it. I liked that Marco became like the face of a revolution for the princesses, and they even kicked Heinous out. Like, that's pretty impressive. And I like that they talked her down from like straight up murder to like him doing an apology that was recorded.
Was so good.
And they didn't even notice that he was like hella sarcastic, and they got away with it. Like, that was amazing to me. I loved it.
Yeah, that the sarcasm thing at the end is really good. I think this is ultimately a good episode, but I think there's a lot of wasted potential in Miss Heinous here. I think I'm lowest on this episode for the week. Like, I think this would be my number 4. just multiple minutes of explanation of stuff that happened in the past. Just kind of a nonsense use of this previously plotty character. Basically, Miss Heinous got the Zinfu, and I don't even remember the other, Master Yu.
Yeah.
Quick listeners, who are those two characters? Those are characters, multiple episode characters from Avatar: The Last Airbender in season 2,
and you have no idea who they are,
right? And you have no idea who they are, right? That Miss Heinous is getting the Zinfu and Master Yu treatment, and that's one of the worst like plot things Avatar did, was just keep these recurring villains who had no real relevance to the plot.
I would like to argue what happens at the end, though, that like we're going to see her again.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah. Well, right. So if we see her again in 15 episodes, she still could be like the Master Yu treatment. But I do think that this is like actually the most plot relevant episode but we'll get to that in a minute. But just this inconsequential use of her in a really sporadic fashion as a villain is not where you want to be. We should Star, like with this character. This is a big misstep in terms of overall plot for me. And it's the first one I've seen in a while, so I really think they need to consider. I mean, I guess like having karate episodes is still not a good idea, and like
I mean, we're gonna talk about like things that are priority, yeah,
right. But I think this is just a genuine misstep from an overall plot direction. So I'd really like to see a better use of her in the. And I do think we're potentially going there. So let's talk about the how this episode might tie into the overall plot, because I think there's a few directions in which events of this episode could be potentially way more important than the episode itself. And I think there's potentially two big ones. One of them is Miss Heinous at the end revealing that she has club cheeks, taking off like the concealer, and
which we already knew.
Yeah, I forgot.
So we already knew. I had no memory of that. So
yeah, I forgot.
I don't still understand what's the significance of who has the
is she Mumin? Is she like
right,
just
the playing card cheeks? Does that mean she's part of the royal family?
That's what I thought it was. That the only royal family ladies had that.
So I have no idea, because I don't. That
makes the most sense.
Yeah,
but I think that has larger significance. Like, why was she hiding it like that?
Right.
Like, this is right. So, any thoughts on that, Delaney?
Well, I was thinking like, so, I was watching it and I like, have like the flash through. I'm like, she's Eclipsa. No, she's not. We know what Eclipsa is.
No, she's frozen. Yeah.
And then, exactly. And then, but it's more like, is she Star's grandmother?
Yeah, she relative.
Like, she's like old enough. And then on top of that, it's like, there's also like no telling. Like, she can just be some sort of relative of Star and it could be relevant. Like, and she trains princesses, and also this kind of, like, if like Star's mom hasn't really talked about her, like there's a lot of like, it's also really begun to struck me when we see Star's parents, like how empty the castle is. And it really starts to make me wonder, like, what's really going on there? Like what did Star's mom do? Like, what is like, or is like, is that just how it is? Is the family that small? Like, how is Uni run? Like, how does this work? But I do think she could, like, my theory right now, I would say, is that I would definitely say she's related to Star, like, 100%. And I would say that she's probably her grandmother, or maybe a great aunt of some sort. And that's going to matter. And I'm not sure, like, right now in, like, the full plot why it matters. Maybe she, like, needs Star for something, or, like, really, granted, it's also, like, I don't even think it's that much of a mystery. I think Marco matters more in her case than Star. I'm not really sure why yet. Like, so, and there's just some weird stuff going on. I definitely think, like, why we saw her again is because she is relevant. We're going to keep seeing her. Like, there's going to be, like, consequences to what's going on. But I just it's hard to put the pieces together. But, like, I'm recognizing that there's a puzzle in front of me.
Yeah. Thoughts, Michelle?
Yeah. I agree with that, though. I agree with, like, all of that.
Yeah, it's hard. Who knows where this is going. I think the other really interesting thing is this Rust core arm. So I completely forgot that this was this character from the card episode, which I think was actually a really good episode.
This is not how reptiles growing back works, but it's fine.
They have magic, Michelle. Don't worry about it.
They're magic.
Yeah. Magic reptiles. So as someone, I frequently try to be like, why do they do this thing? Like, what's the purpose of putting this in the narrative? And there's such a focus on this Rastcorm, and it's kind of funny and how weird it is, but it's also such a weird thing to specifically put in this episode. And I remembered back to me and Delaney's discussions for the Secret of the Card or whatever episode discussion, and we're like, that wasn't Toffee. That looks exactly like Toffee. Like it's like a more muscular Toffee. Like what's going on there? My question is this actually Toffee regrowing instead of Rastakor in a very Voldemort-like fashion?
No. Well, I think the more interesting thing here would be this isn't Toffee, but this is how Toffee comes back. Like, I think it's more of a, like, I don't think it's actually Toffee. I think it might be more of, like, what we're seeing will make you, like, you know, like, this is how Toffee comes back, but it's not
right,
Toffee.
So this is setting precedence for Toffee regrowing. That could be it.
Yes.
I think we could just be seeing, because Toffee is going to be relevant to the finale, even though he's not in a physical form, because he whatever manifested with Ludo. So, right. This could be a season 3 thing. Like, we see Heinous show up a few times and Rasticor's growing bigger, and then the reveal that this isn't actually Rastakor, it's Toffee, or they're the same person.
No. But you're forgetting about the finger in the closet. If he's going to regenerate, it's going to be through his finger. Thinking. Yeah, he's not going to grow back through some other
Why can't the finger combine with the Rastakor arm? You know?
Why would it need to? If these reptiles in this universe can just, like, grow back from just any limb, doesn't matter. It can grow back from the finger. He doesn't need to be somebody else.
And it makes more sense. This show's MO is, like, being as weird as possible, but then later you're like, wait, that's a thing. So I feel like this is more of, like, there was this weird focus on Rastakor and this, and, like, her being really weird. And then, but it's more of, like, also the references to the secret closet are constant. And we have to go back into the secret closet.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it's, like what Michelle said. This is, like, so, like, we know it can grow back. We know Toffee is a lizard. So this is like, hey, we told you. And then later it's like, don't be. So it's like, later, when he comes back as a lizard and busts out of the closet.
Toffee's but I don't get is like, why? So like Toffee knew what he was doing when like he started to destroy her wand. He knew that like it was going to come back in this janky way. I'm pretty sure. Like. Yeah, and like how much Ludo found the other wand and now he can possess him. Like it's all part of some plan. So if the finger thing growing into him is also part of the plan, I don't know how those connect if he's possessing Ludo. Maybe like it's at like such a point where he needs like an extra like oomph of dark magic to like get him to regrow himself.
There's no point in we don't have enough information.
It must like be part of his plan. I feel like he like knows exactly what he's doing.
He's also like it also could just be like there's just master chess games. Like he's regrowing, but like he needs to like put Ludo wherever he needs Ludo to be.
He needs to like line everything up. That's what he's doing right now, is lining things up.
Yeah, it's a good point about Toffee that it always seems like he knows exactly what's happening. At the introduction to his character,
he's the only character that knows exactly.
He's the only character. Yeah,
Gloswick might also kind of know what's going on and just is not telling anyone. But if like those are probably the only two people who like know.
Yeah, Gloswick probably knows but doesn't care at all. Toffee has like a selfish purpose and knows exactly what's happening. So we'll see if these questions are answered in 3 days or 4 days or whatever. I don't think there's a ton of point in speculating for the finale. That's something we could do now. Is good. Like there've been a lot of promos. It's very hype. I'm not going to spoil, like, there's certain elements we know are going to be in the finale. We will get another song. We're having, Patrick Stump, lead singer Fall Out Boy, as a character. So that's going to be so,
that's amazing.
But yeah, there could be so there's a lot to speculate on, but it's coming so soon. Like, why bother? Other elements of this episode, I feel like the biggest deal for a lot of people is seeing Marco and the Princess outfit again.
Yes, probably.
He just had that on hand to put on.
And the doll.
Yeah, the doll.
Yeah, the doll. Which thoughts on Gemini?
That's weird.
I mean, I don't know much about him, but he was like really into that Marco doll, so like I guess that's something. I don't know.
Add that to the Michelle quote book. I think Gemini was like precious this episode.
Yeah, Gemini was fine. Like he's just useless. Like
yeah. Gemini deserves better than Viserys. Let's do that.
Hashtag save Gemini 2K17.
Yeah, save Gemini. And the Morrisons. That was the other element.
Oh my god, that was so good. But those Diaz's are so cool.
Yeah.
That was really good.
They're like trying to, like, they are good parents when they're trying their best.
They're just the best. It was great.
And Marco's mom being like, Star, put your giant whale or magic whale away. Yeah,
yes.
Good. Yeah. Marco's right. It's a narwhal, and now we know narwhals are just created by Star too. Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, and the cop, like that was really funny.
Yeah, the cop, that was weird.
I don't understand the cop. Yeah, but I like that they wanted to hang out with the cool family, and at the end it was real that the cool family thought they were cool too.
Yeah. The twist. Okay. And ask from Andy for the week. most incredible part of this week's Star episodes was that there was a love triangle, and I didn't feel like gorging my eyes out.
Yes.
I think the episode Just Friends is fine. Didn't like harping on Marco feeling unworthy, but the moments emphasizing that Star and Marco are best friends were perfect. I actually felt like these two were two friends who care for each other and don't know how to transition that caring into romantic feelings. And Jackie wasn't the bad guy. That helped too. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like the Marco stuff, but yeah, definitely don't know how to transition into romantic feelings. Hashtag Starco.
Hashtag Starco always. Hashtag Starco if I've ever.
Yeah, red part of Steve. Steve ranks the episodes 1 Just Friends, 2 Collateral Damage, 3 Heinous, 4 All Bets Are Off. I would rank them opposite the way they aired. I'd say Just Friends, Collateral Damage, all Bets Are Off, and then Heinous last. What do you got, Delaney?
I would say obviously number 1 Just Friends. I would actually put Heinous at number 2, and then Collateral Damage, and then All Belts Are Off.
Michelle?
Yeah, same actually.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's fair. I mean, I think everything but Just Friends is they're pretty similar. It's like last week. Like,
and I know I harped a lot on All Belts Are Off. Like, it was a funny episode.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, it wasn't bad. It's just
it hits buttons on me that I don't like being hit.
From a production standpoint, I think that like a narrative, like just all put together, top to bottom, All Belts Are Off, a much more competent episode than Heinous for me. But Heinous has a lot more appealing plot elements, is what I would say. Like, I think that's the, like there's more there in Heinous. All Belts Are Off is pretty barren. So the state of Star, like, I mean, I didn't love seeing 3 kind of good, not great episodes. Like, I think I'm hoping that we avoid these type of, like, at least there's still no bad episodes in a while. Like, so there's that. I'm a little more iffy going into the finale on whether this is like a top tier show now. But that can all change with an epic finale. So we will see Monday.
Yes.
Very hyped for Face the Music and Star Crushed.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Those titles say it all.
Yeah. We're expecting Eclipsa, we're expecting maybe Toffee.
I don't know if we're expecting Eclipsa.
I'm not expecting
We're expecting Starco. I think that's the only safe expectation we can have.
Okay, let me tell you, I think there will be Eclipsa. I think we've seen enough promo material, but actually I'm not 100% sure on that. Actually,
I see Eclipsa and the Fritz being a end game for this show.
I'm not going to say that I'm not saying that we're focusing on Eclipsa here, but
well, we can see her briefly. Like, it could be like the stinger.
You also have to understand this is the equivalent Monday of 4 episodes we're going to see. There's a lot to cover here.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen.
It's going to be pretty hype. Any I don't know. We don't need to do predictions, but what are you most excited for in the finale, Delaney?
Ooh, I just like Star, like in herself, just like Star's journey, like seeing where Star ends up at the end of the season. Like, obviously I'm always about Starco, but I've seen Star has grown so much like this season, and I just love her, and I'm just really excited to see like how this all plays out. Like, I don't know what's coming. Like, I have like ideas, but the show like always pulls the rug out from underneath me, so we'll have to see. I guess just like more of like the magic and like just seeing like just Star. I'm just really excited to see what Star does and how she like reacts.
Yeah. Michelle, what are you most excited for?
Oh man. I'm gonna get pushback. I want to see Ludo and Star have a face off. I really want to see. I feel like that's kind of been building too, even though he's been in the background for the last handful of episodes. Like, he is still training, and he does love the book, and like there's gonna be a showdown. I feel like we're gonna have a showdown with him before we have a showdown with like Eclipsa. So
well, that makes sense.
Plus, like maybe Toffee like possessing Ludo still would be the showdown with Star,
right,
but like some combination of that. I'm excited to see what'll happen.
Like, clearly, eventually we'll see Ludo again. I think we're more of a favorite to see Eclipsa than Ludo in the finale.
I'd also love to see Toffee, though.
Like, I don't think I don't really see us heading toward a final showdown for this season. I think it's more we're just dealing with like the Star and like her immediate surroundings. Like, I mean, I definitely think I almost want to say like we're definitely going to see her parents, and that we're going to like, we told you to sit tight. And then, like, kind of, like, a few things unfolding. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to see a showdown.
Moon is in the episode. I think this is more of a Star's emotional arc coming to a head, Star's family, and subtle influence of Toffee and Eclipsa and, like, where we're going. I don't know if there's going to be, like, a big showdown. Then again, there's a lot to cover here. Definitely most excited to see the conclusion of this chapter of Star's emotional character arc.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the direction that we're headed in with, like, I care about Star more than any other character on TV. But this is the time to see Star devastated. Like this is the,
and I'm seeking, like, it's a revelation.
Yeah.
Like, this is for me, like, this isn't like, there was, like, the volume 3 Ruby ending was like destruction everywhere. Like, blah, it was bad. Like, not even like bad. It was just like bad things happened. But for this, I think this is more of a revelation that will, like, that is going to, like, kind of blow up Star's world a little bit, but it's not going to be so much like an actual, like, blow up. It's going to be like, I think it's a revelation. This is going to be, I think we're going to get an info drop.
Oh yeah, that's what I really want. Like, even if nothing, like, huge happens, I want to, like, know what the next thing's going to be for season 3.
What's going on?
Yeah, I want to know what's going on. It's like, how I feel about Steven Universe 2. Like, I just, like, want to know where we're going in both shows.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll have like a hook for next season, but yeah, definitely seeing this conclusion to this chapter of Star, and maybe finding a direction, or it coming to a head of her being lost, and, like, emotionally lost with Marco and emotionally lost without the book, and, like, her direction in the face of with her family or monsters. I think that's all going to try to that's what's coming to a head here. I think we're going to see backstory. I think we're going to see this some version of this with Eclipse, maybe some Toffee influence. We don't really know. We've seen, there've been like 5 promos, but we don't really know anything, and a lot of hyping.
There are 5 promos? Will you
There's a lot of
share
promos,
those?
and a lot of hyping on Twitter from Darren Nefsey, Adam MacArthur, Giancarlo Volpe, among others, the storyboarders. Everyone's teasing a lot of big things happening. So, yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Very exciting. Yeah. A lot of them are fans of being like, it's going to be devastating. Like, that type of teasing the fans. Yeah.
That's so vague. It doesn't mean anything.
A lot of that type of thing. So, I think, Darren called this, the next episode we're about to see with, Patrick Stumper, one of her favorite episodes. There's a lot of reason to be hype here. So we will see Monday. Our podcast on this will be up very late Monday, and, going to be very exciting. So, I think that's all I got. So say we have a Steven Universe episode tomorrow. That is going to be the best episode of the season, Michelle.
Stop talking.
And we have Cartoon Network spoiled. This is actually a plot relevant episode, according to Cartoon Network's promo for the episode.
I got spoiled on Twitter by a picture, and I'm so irritated.
Yeah. Check on the
spoiled for Steven Universe. What the heck, Twitter?
Yeah, I don't know if this is actually a spoiler.
What the heck?
Michelle eating her words, doubting Ronaldo.
I will always doubt him.
I don't, Delaney.
It won't be because of him.
Yeah, no, I am skeptical about how much that will actually play into that. We'll see. We'll see if that's a big part of the episode.
I just like, it's not a plot thing, but I just don't like being spoiled for new things. It irritates me.
Delaney's really good about spoilers.
Delaney, here's what happened. This was Michelle's fault. Cartoon Network
oh
listened
my
to her.
God, Dylan! Don't you dare! I have nothing to do with Ronaldo.
Look,
okay,
Cartoon Network heard Michelle being like, "This episode's gonna suck," so they decided they needed to promote it and hype it up. So they showed that picture. So that's what happened.
Maybe if they can redeem themselves, only if it's like mostly PD the whole time, then I'll tune in for sure.
PD was in the promo drawing. By,
well, that's a step in the right direction. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's enough. The Steven Universe that's our coverage this weekend. Overlyanimated.com. Check us out at overlyanimated.com. Subscribe to us, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you're listening, for our Steven Universe content and our upcoming Star finale discussions. Probably going to be trying for at least 1 or maybe 2 episodes, Star podcasts after this, potentially Star feedback show. We'll see how much, comments we get on the finale. So, cause, that's it for Star for several months after Monday. So, there you go. Consider supporting us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Jamie, aka Mailman. Thank you very much, Jamie, for your continued support. And if you have made it an hour and 10 minutes into this podcast, you might be the right person to become a patron and participate in our discussions on that picture that Cartoon Network put up on our Facebook group, among other. Yeah. And irritated. We'll see how this plays out. I will say, as much as I love Ronaldo, I am 100,000 times more hype for the star finale. So
if you have a brain, I mean, come on, Dylan.
Wow. Oh my God, such hatred of Ronaldo. Okay. Last comments, guys.
Starco, 5 ever.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
pretty curious if we'll see any Starco moments in the finale. Like,
Yeah.
clearly
I
that
feel like it's
relates.
I
not
want
gonna
Marco
happen,
to find
but
out and see how he deals with it.
Clearly, it
That'd be
relates to Star's emotional arc, but will we see any like legit? You know, like it's good. The Starco factors in no matter what, but like, will it be an explicit like thing?
Right.
That matter? Like, you know,
I don't
that's
think
brought up.
so.
I think we have enough time that, like, I think we'll see something, but I'm not sure. Very excited for the star finale. And we will see you guys then. Thank you so much for listening, and bye.
Bye.